Happy Friday! Happy SketchUp Live Day! And thanks for joining us from all over the world. Wow, I see UK, France. I got people from where you at? Let us know in the chat, folks. Nigeria. Oh my gosh. Hollywood, Bogota, Colombia, UAE. Folks, thanks for tuning in. We got a great show for you today because it's Tyson. You see him here. We got him creating a sick model from Spider-Man into the Spiderverse. We have something else that's sick today too. We don't know. We're about to get into it. You will hear it soon. So please welcome to the stage. It's your host for the day, Tyson Kartner. All right. Give him a warm welcome, everybody.
I didn't even catch that. Matt totally threw me oh, that was well played, Matt. That was well played. And it took me a second because I am running at half speed. Yes, I'm the other thing that's sick today, literally sick. I apologize for my voice, but we are going to power through it anyway. But again, Matt, that was well played.
Hey, it came to me in the moment, a spark of inspiration, and I just let him have it. Bringing the sickness. Oh, do we have some weird audio stuff going on? I can adjust things.
Is the audio on my side or on Matt's side?
I believe it's just on me, and I think I know what I did wrong. I did something weird. And then I also figured this out. Check this that I have today. Spider-Man into the Spiderverse.
Nice. Okay.
Anyway.
I have been told, in the current situation that we should be doing a lot more of in a world where SketchUp was the only thing standing before total elimination. Something like this.
That is deep. That is... You should be getting paid extra for that.
Well, so you can talk to about that. Hey, everybody. Yeah. Yes, please let us know where you're coming in from. We'd love to hear it. Couple of things as we start up here. I'm excited for this one. This has been an idea I've had for a little while. I don't know how it's going to go. I have not really pre-practiced this one. I'm going to try to mute my microphone when I get a hacking fit, which will happen, but please let us know. I'm going to test it right now. So
I'm Tyson.
Yeah. So hopefully we can eliminate the worst of the coughing fits. I feel fine. We're still doing this, but yes, my voice is pretty dramatic right now.
Well, yeah, I'm glad to hear you're feeling okay.
Yeah.
Because you never know. But we appreciate you certainly being here in front of the camera today on SketchUp Live. What do you have in store for us? I saw of course, the name of the stream, but what do we got here? This is a cool looking image.
This is a cool looking image. This is a very iconic scene. Now, first of all, let's just come clean here. This is one of my favorite movies that's ever been made. But Matt, our friend Matt, the movie connoisseur, the guy who's the best movie review, Matt hasn't seen this movie. So we're going to be...
Hey, don't rub it in. It's on my to-watch list.
Okay. Well, all will be forgiven in time then. But I'm going to, in the risk of getting flagged, I'm going to pull up this scene from the movie. I put the movie on my desktop here. And hopefully it will come across. I want to pull up just this scene, sans audio, and then we're going to pull up a little bit of the making of and talk about what I'm getting, some spoilers here. If you're looking, what now
I feel like I've seen it now that you scrubbed through that part.
I know, right? You'll have seen some of this stuff. So we're looking at New York. Miles is sort of having a moment of, this is a very impactful moment in the movie. And it's Miles kind of like the moment he becomes Spider-Man, and it's got this like fantastic angles and like super dramatic cinematic stuff the whole movie does. If we pause here, like these buildings are just huge and they're all pulling into the scene. And I know we'd all have a better time if we just watched the movie together. In fact, shall we do that? So
I don't know if
Miles,
YouTube would appreciate that.
I know. Miles is falling up. This is also called the leap of faith. And this is what I want to try to recreate in some semblance. A lot of these buildings, and so this is a fantastic scene. That's all we're gonna play of that. But I do want to show one other thing that we have here. There's a lot of good.
Different. Let's go.
Let me mute this audio. There's a lot of good making of, because like there's so much innovative things they did with this movie. In this scene, they're explaining some of these shots from New York, and this one especially. So like what we want to acknowledge is that we're not going to be creating a scene that is anywhere real to real life. This is a scene that we're creating for a camera that has no relation to real life. The directors of the film during this part are talking about how these buildings are a mile, 2 miles, 3 miles high, completely unrealistic height. And as you pull away, you can see this. The buildings are all like, I want to see anybody out there photo match this.
Yeah, it is wild because it looks kind of stylized, and it looks comic booky and stuff in the film, but it also looks somewhat realistic. Like you still buy it as buildings. This is like everything's falling off a cliff
Yeah.
slowly, into less and less detail and further away from the camera. But hey, do what you can to make the scene look right, I suppose. But it's crazy to see this kind of zoomed out view.
Mm-hmm. It's really remarkable. I loved when I saw this and I was like, oh, of course, like it's false perspective. Now this is the one that we're going to be doing. It's not as skewed, but you can see that basically our camera's here, Miles is falling, and the buildings are just placed wherever that makes sense for the camera. It has nothing to do with reality. So
Although, take note, urban designers, maybe in the future, that's how you should start laying out cities, just kind of spread out in a big, arc, a big cone.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of open space. You could put some parks in there,
Oh,
green space,
there is a lot of open space in there. That's nice.
parking lots. Yeah.
Especially in your neck of the woods, right? Where they create tunnels between buildings because it's so cold in the winter.
Yeah, maybe that's all underground
Yeah.
walkways and stuff in
I
between the
want
buildings.
the tunnel from this building over here to this one.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
secret
so
trap doors.
yeah,
Don't forget those, to model those today.
of course. We'll put it all in. So I hope that's like a good intro to what we're doing. And the challenge that we're going to have is like, oh, this is just spreading some buildings around. Yeah. But we want to, make it look good in the camera, which means a lot of kind of like needling. And obviously don't want to drag everybody through a long term of that. So we're just going to see how far we get and then model up some buildings to get some detail. That's where we're going. So everybody chime in and be like, you know what? Here's how I would do it, or here's some ideas, or this is crazy, or this is the best movie ever, or not. Anyway, all good. So I'm going to create a large, there's tiny me, there's a large building footprint, and we are going to, first of all, create our a generic view generally, I think we should do that first, just with some basic blocks, and then we'll go from there and start adding detail. That's what I hope would work. We'll see.
Yeah, cool. I love it. Yeah, I mean, one thing that I feel like has come up in previous streams and different videos that we made and stuff, especially stuff that Eric does, where you have like a set view you're looking for, is, it doesn't always have to be perfect from every angle. Uh, as long as what you're trying to create looks right from that one, you don't have to model the back of the house if
Mhm.
it's not part of your rendering or your um, the communication that you're trying to get across about a particular scene. um, and obviously you see that in the view of their city where it, from the camera angle, it looks really cool, and everything looks at the right scale, and um, even if it's a little exaggerated, but then from you wouldn't want to just orbit around to take another shot from somewhere else. um, so yeah, love to see it, because it seems like a common part of workflows that people would experience when they're not necessarily creating somebody jumping off a building. Hopefully it's a superhero, has the ability to not hit the ground, but yeah, no, so somewhere that you have a set view that you're going for, and then kind of fixing up everything around that.
Yeah. Um,
Like, yeah, go ahead.
so just a quick tip, if you're fairly new to SketchUp, we're going to be dealing with a really large um, urban scene here. And as I try to move stuff in the background versus the foreground, if I orbit like base back here, you know, I'm jumping all over. A lot of stuff in SketchUp is relative to where your cursor is. So if I just move my cursor right here over something that's here and I orbit, all of a sudden I get, it's a lot smoother. I'm not losing myself because I'm trying to just create a view where the horizon line, we're focusing the eye here. The whole composition is this sort of thing. And so I think I want the horizon line just a little bit higher. So we're sort of pushing back into it, something like that. So just a reminder that even orbit tools, or I should say navigation tools, are relative to things in your scene. So try different, I get a lot better results if I start my orbit tool from me here in the front than from a building that's a couple thousand feet away.
That's
And
a great tip. Yeah.
um, also, I'm not going to bother turning the camera upside down. I think in SketchUp, that would be just a pain to manage. So we're going to turn our buildings upside down and still sort of be looking.
Yeah, that's a good call as well. Yeah, because you have the ground plane, you don't want to be fighting the camera and the navigation tools the whole time.
Yeah. So
Plus,
let
then
me
you
add
can
a
be like,
scene.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Nope, just added a scene.
Smart. Yep. Keep your camera location in check. But I was going to say, since you're doing everything, inverted, uh, it would kind of be like the Fresh Prince when his whole world got flipped, turned upside down. So this could be Spider-Man and also Fresh Prince in one.
You make me laugh, man. I gotta go into a wheezing fit.
You can use that same button on the mic to turn.
I know.
Although everybody wants to hear you laugh, you gotta, even if it's a little wheezy, it's always
I'm
fun to hear
just
people laugh.
saying, you know, choose your jokes carefully, buddy.
Watch where you point that joke.
Exactly.
Um, yeah.
Well, I'll let you do the Fresh Prince rap. I'm not in the best position to do that one just right now.
Oh
So
man, if we didn't get copyright flagged from the Spider-Man, we definitely would from Will Smith's estate for the Fresh Prince rap. Anyways, go ahead.
yeah. Yeah. One of the things that we were talking about is like, okay, we can make buildings closer and farther away, and we can sort of just push buildings up. But obviously, the farther away buildings get, right, then we're dealing with, well, should we make some of them larger, smaller? So it's both a scale and distance issue. Like, and I don't. We're just guessing, and again, I don't want to noodle too much. But this, again, this one, it's kind of fun because it's that interesting sort of challenge where you're like, this is not your typical SketchUp model where you're making things false and guessing. And you pointed out in our little discussion before we started that I don't miss it. I have worked in other 3D softwares. A typical 3D software, you can have multiple viewports up. And one of the ones we could have up was like a top view but this is one of the cases where actually that would be handy to have, like a top view, a camera view, because then we could do all our manipulation over here. I usually don't miss that multi-view, but there are times, sure. So,
Yeah. Yeah, one of the things unique to SketchUp that, I agree, normally works in your favor, but sometimes nice to have. But that makes it all the more interesting to solve a problem without. It's all about problem solving here on SketchUp Live, and in your SketchUp models, of course. What are you guys modeling? What have you guys been modeling lately? This week or this weekend? And in the U.S., we have Independence Day holiday coming up next week, so maybe some people with their time off are going to be getting into some models for fun. But yeah, let us know in the chat. What have you been working on lately? Stuff around the house or just stuff for fun?
yeah, and call us out, Matt. You were calling out some. We're coming in from all over the world. We always love to see that. So, who's joining us today?
Yeah, speaking of, we want to say hi. Of course, we only speak English, Tyson and I, but actually, I don't. Do you speak any other languages?
I do not. I am sorry to say. I wish I did.
Well, you can always learn.
True enough.
I'm trying to. Don't forget to Babbel. Use promo code SketchUp Live for 10%. I'm just joking around. We don't have any. No sponsors here on SketchUp Live, of course. All free. Brought to you by Trimble, I suppose. But anyways, yeah, so we only speak English, but we do have people, of course, from all over the world. So we want to say hi to you in English, but also in other languages as well, to be inclusive. So hello, and let's start the cavalcade of greetings.
E aí, tudo bem?
Hallo und herzlich willkommen.
Apa kabar?
晚上好，我们即将结束运营。
Grüezi wohl, herzlich willkommen.
Selamat siang.
¿Qué pasa?
مرحبا
Como vai?
كيف حالك؟
こんばんは。もうすぐ営業時間は終了です。
आप कैसे हैं?
嗨，你好，欢迎你的到来。
Grüezi.
嗨，你好，感谢你的加入。
Hello, sailor.
Servus, schön, dass du dabei bist.
Yay! Yeah, so I want to say hello to everybody across. If you didn't hear your language, let us know in the comments. We'll bring it next time we're on here. So hello and thanks for joining us. Whether you're joining live or later on in the future, thank you for watching. We appreciate you. And hope you enjoy what we're bringing to the table today, which is very large buildings. So are these buildings that you're making 2 miles high, like you said in the other
Well,
video they were doing?
Let's figure out. This one is 2,200 feet.
A little under half a mile or so.
A little under half a mile. I think we're getting away with some of that, but some of these later ones back here either between their height or just moving them. Could be. So here's what I think I'm going to try and do is a couple ways to, right? The nice thing about some of this is that we get to use components and create an array of windows and stuff and create a lot of detail quickly. But the other thing, when we look back, let's look at our image again. We can't match, this image and its style because we're not going to render this.
Mm-hmm.
But it would still be interesting to see what we can do, like with the styles we could create in SketchUp. And I don't know, I haven't tried it. I don't fully know what we can push on here, but it would be interesting to be able to get some variation in the windows, whether we'll be able to make it dark like this. We're going to struggle to get a glow effect. But I think it would be interesting to have like variation in the windows and some things like that. But to do that, we would have to either manually put little squares of colors all over the place, and that would take a long time. Or we want to set this up in a way where we could, I don't know, somehow create some randomness. So I'm going to try to set my buildings up kind of with open windows and stuff where inside the windows we could just put a bunch of random color blobs, and hopefully from the outside that will give us kind of the illustration. I don't know if it's going to work. We're going to find out.
Nice. I like the experimentation. Eric does chime in the comments to say we should render this. Let's render it. Not today, of course, but a different stream perhaps. So take this model and try to color it up, get some highlight blooms and cool colored windows in there.
Well, I tell you what, I know Aaron has some scars from the Cobra model or the Cathedral model, and Eric has some that are not his favorite either.
Mm-hmm.
The last time I opened up V-Ray on a live stream, it went horribly wrong, and those scars are still like, nope, never going to do that again. But I will gladly hand it over to Eric, our resident expert.
Yeah, deal. Hey, I'm happy for you to stay in SketchUp, certainly. We also had a recent video that Aaron put up on the channel about Trimble Connect Visualizer. Have you seen this or tried this out at all?
I have not tried it. Visualizer, does it work on Mac now? For a while, it only worked on Windows.
So this is different than like Are you talking about Trimble Connect Visualizer?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the same renderer that's built into Trimble Connect when you like look at a model through there. It is available for Mac and Windows. It's free on Extension Warehouse. And it's pretty cool. I mean, obviously for like a free app with one-click rendering, it has doesn't have as many options as V-Ray or whatever, but for simple stuff, it's really cool just to get a quick look at what your model could look like with a little, some control over shadow, hardness, and ambient occlusion and stuff like that. So yeah, give it a shot. Check out that video on our YouTube channel, and also, hey, just Extension Warehouse. Like I said, it's free, so might as well give it a run if you want to see what that's about. Ooh, that looks cool.
Okay, so that's a start. I think I want to get rid of. We're just going to get rid of the idea of actual floors in here.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll do something like this where I'll set it in a little bit. Do that. Hopefully, if it's dark, we're not worried about actually seeing through this. We'll create the effect. But So we'll see what happens here. So that's building number 1. Only 20 to go.
Willie asks, usually how long to sketch up just one building? I think it depends on the level of detail. As you see, like Tyson's going after this this artistic, stylized look with this building, and that one took what, a couple minutes to do, just component
Sure.
of one floor and throwing some windows in. So depends on your level of detail and how much you're putting into the whatever fenestration. Am I using that word correctly?
Sure.
Just no idea what I'm talking about, but anyways, yeah. So depends on your level of detail, but you could make something that looks reasonably good for whatever level of detail you're looking at, and pretty quick. Or you could spend a lot of time on getting all the details just how you want them.
That's
Let's
totally
back
fair.
up to earlier on. I asked what people are modeling. We have a couple responses here. Paul says has been modeling a tiny dual axis solar tracker and a soap dish. The first one, he said, was fun to model. The second, not really. I could see that. Dual axis solar tracker. Yeah, that sounds pretty interesting to try to get your head around spatially.
Dual axis solar tracker. Does that make sense to you, Matt? That one is impressively big words to me.
Well, I think like if you have like a solar panel that's in like a solar farm or wherever it is, and it will like kind of track the sun over the court, like the sun sun obviously goes
gotcha.
across the sky. So just to optimize, it'll follow the sun across the sky. And I think so you want to go in kind of multiple axes so that it's facing fully, whatever it is, perpendicular to the sun rays, so that they get the most out of them. I would assume, but yeah, that's pretty cool.
Okay, very, very, very cool. I love all things solar. That's very cool.
And then another person says they've been creating large interior, although going to layout was slowing it down quite a bit. Yeah, I know we have a bunch of videos on the YouTube channel, and also on SketchUp Campus, learn.sketchup.com, that talks about optimizing models and scenes and styles and everything to go to layout, to documentation, and not bog down your document sets and everything. So if you haven't already, give those a watch and get some tips and tricks on keeping the layout snappy when you're dealing with large models.
Good call.
Randy's been modeling his house, and the architect made some changes to it, and then he's remodeling his model. So hey, there's always more iterations that can go on when you're working on any creative endeavor, of course. Whatever it is, but good that you're keeping up with all that. I know sometimes when you like put a lot of time and effort into one particular design, and then it gets changed, it can be disheartening to follow up and keep going on it. But good for you, Randy. That's good to hear.
Nice.
Patrick says he's been enjoying creating a very detailed Smeg Victoria range SMEG. I'm gonna go ahead and look up what that is.
Say it. What?
Oh, it's a like a range, like a oven and stove set. Wow, these are nice ones too. Very cool. Yeah, always fun to see hear what people are working on. Oh, yeah, Patrick did say it's a very large oven. Lee is reconstructing a 14th century medieval monastery. Wow, that sounds like fun. And he has like anytime historical stuff is being recreated in model form, I just love it. I know some people take like, super old hand-drawn plans or like old black and white photos of buildings before they got torn down or something, or um we've heard in the past of like 3D scanning kind of ruins or like remains of buildings, um and then visualizing those in 3D. So yeah, that's really cool. Good on you, Lee. Like to hear it.
Totally. Bringing those old buildings, like you say, back to life or to some semblance of it is. I think we were talking about an example in the forums recently where somebody was doing some really impressive models of buildings that had existed in a city. I think it was a U.S. city that the buildings have been torn down. City stuff has been built over it, but they were recreating it and then recreating it in sort of a mini form for like a mini railroad track. And it was very cool to see like some of these old buildings that don't even exist anymore have a little bit of, I don't know, renewed life in some sense. So that was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I always love to see that. Lost Architecture on Reddit, if you've never seen that. I don't know if other folks have seen that, but it's like all, architecture and urban design stuff that's been since demolished. But I was like, if I was more ambitious, I would try to take on remodeling some of those designs because they're, obviously so beautiful and cool, and it's so sad to not have them around anymore. But
Well, this is my little experiment to see if like we create some lighting. I need to go into my scene here and say stop messing with my styles. I just want the camera location because we had, or it may be, anyway, what happened to my transparency? Oh, it's there. It's just a bit lost. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't watch the entire making of, but I heard Eric talk about some scene in Into the Spider-Verse. I don't know if it was this one in particular, but where some stuff in the background, it's so kind of comic book style and abstracted and stuff that some of the buildings are literally just streaks of color because they're far enough in the background. You don't want to have a lot of detail, away from your subject, and so it. I think that's just an interesting, design choice to this is kind of in between that, like, hyper photorealistic and complete just one color blob. But I like the technique you use here to kind of have that reflection of across, all the windows. So looks cool.
Yeah. Okay. So there's something there. I think we can continue to tweak that. Looks like also I need to. All right. Let's. I'm not going to get caught up on this, but there's something there that we can continue to explore if we have time.
Yeah. I know in the past we've talked about doing like kind of set time frames for design, like little micro sprints of stuff.
Mhm.
And I'm like, do you want me to keep you on a schedule of
Yes.
10 minutes per building so you're not like spending, because I know you could spend all your time on just one, or
Mhm.
whatever, anybody could, but um
Totally
if you
yes.
want me to hold you to a timer, I can certainly do that.
Okay, start the timer. 10 minutes. Next building.
You got it.
This one, actually, do this one a little differently. Let's try something else. Just for kicks and giggles. And I'm being pretty loose with divide that up. Hold on. This is where I start talking to myself as I'm modeling, because I'm like, hold on, man. Don't do it that way. Try it this way.
Oh, no.
No.
Please do. I was just earlier today making noises to myself in my office, and my wife walked by and was like, what are you doing in there? I'm just like, blah blah. And she's like, what's going on? And I'm like, oh, just working. So completely same boat. I'm like, it's a good thing I work remote, I'd be a very big distraction to people, just like you talking to yourself or just, making random noises for no good reason, but sometimes you got it. We've asked in the past, like, what do you listen to when you're modeling? I'm like, I don't care about that. I want to know what kind of noises you're making.
What babbling do you do at home? Good question. Okay, I was a little sloppy in how I made this, but whatever. We're there. I think on any one of these buildings, I'm only really have to worry about 2 corners. So this should be enough. Let's make it a similar height. Make this a component. And copy this up like 50 times. I don't, like, based on where we put it, we probably don't actually need all that. But anyway. And what I thought, those are a little deep. Actually, that's deeper than I want, but I'm not going to worry about it because I'm on a timer, which was smart, Matt.
We got 7.5 minutes.
Okay. Good. We're gonna make that a random
So when you're,
component.
I don't want to distract you too much because I know you're on a timetable here, but when you're like creating something like this, pretty abstract and kind of, simple, are you still, because you have some architectural training background, are you like thinking about that when you're doing this? Like, okay, this, floor height would be this high, and this is what a facade kind of might look like at an abstracted level?
Wow, I really wish I was. I had that kind of depth. This floor heights are at 30 feet because that seemed to be like maybe 2 floors, and then like the articulation could be, but no, I'm not. And I never worked on any projects that were of this scale, even the little bit I did in architecture. So no.
Hey, I'm sure you have some kind of, some inborn, I don't know, spatial understanding of things better than I do. Because when I try to do like, sometimes I'll like try to build out context buildings just for fun or something, to kind of populate a scene, and I'm like, I have no idea how to like fake something to make it look real, but also not like fully detailed,
Mm-hmm.
But this to me looks like this to be like a building just simplified, you know. So
I mean,
I
but
say you, yeah.
that's the beauty of doing something like this, right? That building is just windows. A couple of these we need to put some tops on, and as you get closer, there's a little bit of stuff that maybe we'll do. But the farther away we get, and back here, it's what you were saying, was like these are probably just, you know, a mix of like just simple blocks and images. So, I mean, that's the nice thing about making up skyscrapers. Like it's all windows.
This is a window building.
It's all windows.
This one's just blue. Windows are really reflecting. Max coming in from Namibia. Good to see you.
Oh, wow. Very cool.
Vanessa from Brazil. Hi. Happy that you could join us. Transom saying that Bob Ross used to make noises, so you can make noises too.
That is very fine company indeed. So thanks, Transom. One thing that I've been doing here, and I know some people will know about this, but when you're stacking like we're doing here, I don't want the lines in between here. I've just turned on hidden geometry. I don't want those showing. Simple way to get around that is to hide these edges, and I can hide them, you know, with like the hold the shift key and use the eraser. But another way, when you have something like this, it's more complex. Simple shortcut. I'll make this a little more. So if we made this generic component and copy it, I can just double click, and that's going to select the surface and all of its edges. And I can hide all that at once, except for I'm going to hold shift, deselect that middle surface because I actually want to get rid of that later. And then just hit hide, which for me is H. So it's a quick way to hide a bunch of complex edges, and then I would do the same down here. Maybe I'll do it, you know, on this bottom one, double click, deselect the surface, hide. And that way we get, you know, one single looking block. And then depending on what you're doing, you may come in and delete one or two of these surfaces. So like I said, I know some people will know about that, but that's a quick, might be useful tip.
Yeah, it is a useful tip. I feel like we could do a whole video series on like selection tips or tricks, like how to quickly get a good selection. Like when for people who don't know this, when I first came onto the team, Tyson was my boss, and to get me up to speed,
of his life.
No, it was the best. It was the best. I learned so much about life and SketchUp too, of course. But having to do with the SketchUp stuff, you had some kind of exercises about just kind of shapes and structures to model and stuff. But some of them were selection exercises where it's like, how would you go about like the fewest number of, you know, actions to make a selection of just like, you know, the edges around this particular shape or whatever. And I feel like that's a way of thinking about geometry and SketchUp that sometimes people don't a thought process they don't go through, you know. That can be really helpful and speed up your process for whatever you're doing. So selection, yes. That's what I have to say about that.
Nice.
We have a bunch more folks chiming in the chat. So Ali from Iran, welcome. Ink Patio from South Africa, hello. Thanks for tuning in. Michelle from Italy. Sean from South Africa. Ahmad from Nigeria. Oh my gosh, folks. Happy to have you here.
It is.
Duro tuning in from Nigeria.
cool.
Mustafa, hello, and welcome to. If it's your first time here, this is our SketchUp live stream that we do every week here on. Looks like people are coming in from all over. We have it on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter as well. So wherever you are, that's where we are. But yeah, catch us every week. Sometimes we do, just modeling a particular building or popular structure from scratch. Your 10-minute timer just went off.
Oh, I'm done then. Here we
Pencils
go.
down.
Pencils down.
It
Let's
looks
see what we
good.
can do.
Yeah, no, that does look good. But anyway, so I was saying, we do either just models from scratch. Sometimes we do workflows, like Eric last week showed. This is workflow last week. Oh, how to create a master plan with SketchUp, layout, and Photoshop. Yeah, so check it out. Subscribe to us on whatever channel you're watching on, so you get notified when we go live, and then you can join us, and then you can join in the chat, which is always fun, and ask us questions. And we're here for the conversation, so please feel free to let us know, first of all, if you have any questions or comments, or also if you have any ideas for future stuff we can cover on the live streams or on the channel in general. So drop us a note, let us know.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned, this is a tangent. You mentioned, some people have joined us from some various countries in Africa. I don't know that you will have seen this one, Matt, but Star Wars Visions is a series of shorts that just are, where I think they give a lot of creative freedom to different animation studios. So they're phenomenal because they're just kind of different stories that are not necessarily canon and stuff. And the final one was from some studio I didn't know of from Africa, and it was so beautiful. There's a lot of them that are beautiful, but so kudos. I can't remember the name of the studio right now, but it was, like I say, it was a studio from Africa I didn't know before, and it was remarkable because I think it was mostly CG, but it was CG that looked like felt dolls, but in this beautiful world. It was very cool.
Oh, cool. Could it be? Oh gosh. Oh no, I lost it. Triggerfish Animation Studios out of South Africa.
That's the one. It's phenomenal.
Cool. Yeah, no, I've heard a lot of good things. It's cool when you have kind of a universe that you can do that kind of thing, where you can have kind of one-off stories that just allow people to explore the whatever it is, the look and feel in their own creative way without
right,
changing the entire, because obviously Star Wars is all happening. It's not a multiverse. It's all happening in one galaxy, right?
Yeah. Very cool stuff.
Yeah, I have to check that out. We have Adi from the Philippines, Felipe from Guadalajara, Mexico. Hello. Don coming in from Vancouver. And Dubs31 on YouTube agrees with you about Star Wars Vision, saying both seasons were beautifully done. So yeah,
They were.
and
They
then
were
the
very
praise
cool.
Star Wars Visions. Yeah.
All right, I made the usual. I would say it's a rookie mistake, but instead I'll say it's a common mistake because I know lots of good experienced. I didn't make this piece inside my nested component unique, so I made a bunch of changes over here thankfully, this one will didn't matter what it was exactly, so we'll just make it something like this, and we'll be good to go. But yeah, just so you know, happens to all of us.
Mm-hmm.
This probably is like, I'm like, some of this is so dark. It's probably not that great to see, but sorry about that.
Big into the dark and moody, the gritty version of Spider-Man.
This thought occurred to me, not related to Spider-Man or anything. But I'd be curious, since we have people all over the world, and since my throat has been kind of hashed, I'm curious, what are some of the folk remedies, whether or not you believe they actually work? What are some of the wildest folk remedies that are out there for dealing with a cold or a cough or whatever? At our house, this is not necessarily a folk remedy. I think it's basic, make your throat feel better. But Lord of the Rings, when Andy Serkis was doing all of his voice work and acting for Gollum, he had to talk in such a way that his voice was regularly getting pretty abused. So he talked about that they had just this regular on tap Gollum juice for him, which is a mix of just lemon juice, a lot of honey, tea, something, just lemon juice and honey that you would just copiously drink so much of. But so we refer to it also as Gollum juice. But yeah, what's the what are the folk remedies out there?
Yeah, Gollum juice is a good one. I like to imagine like you actually drinking the juice that the real Gollum in universe would drink. Like what would that be? Like dirty,
Ew,
you know,
dirty
pond
fish water.
scum water. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Which maybe would make you sicker. Who knows? Transom saying Lipton tea with a couple slices of fresh ginger. Yeah, no, I know ginger is a popular remedy, popular root. Although I don't know, sometimes ginger can be a little strong for me. So I don't know, slices, or like I know some people say like to kind of shave it or do like a grated, like a cheese grater, and you kind of put the ginger through that. So maybe slices is the way to go because it doesn't bring the entire heat of the ginger, but still gives you some of the goodness. Don't people say turmeric is a thing like that too? Like you put turmeric in tea and it's supposed to be good for you. Who knows? Randy says his remedy is honey tea and quietly using SketchUp. Probably talking for 2 hours is not a good remedy, like you're going through right now for the rough vocal cords, but Keggy says just a lot of whiskey, quality whiskey. Hey, that can go a long way. To at least for a short time making you feel better, and then depending on your amount, probably making you feel worse. But yeah, at least you are feeling better for a little while. Ahmad says tahina is good when you cough. Tahina, I gotta say, I don't really know what that is. Oh, Garav saying turmeric more of an antibiotic, works well as painkiller. Oh, interesting. Okay. Not really for the cold, but hey, I say when I'm sick, I'm like, just give me whatever you got. Give me Dayquil, Tylenol, give me honey tea, give me brandy, Lawrence is saying. Um yeah, love to see it. So it looks like you got a couple extra buildings coming in here. This is nice. Obviously, Tyson switching back to the camera angle scene, back and forth while repositioning stuff to make sure that that it's coming in, looking at the right scale and everything. So that's a good call.
I think I'm muting at the wrong times.
I just figured your voice was rough, so you turned it off. But that's funny.
I was trying to comment on how much drinking is prevalent in our audience's remedies.
Yeah. Whether you're sick or not, sometimes people go to the whiskey or the other kind of drinks. Hey, whatever works for you, I suppose. Benylin. Gotta say, I don't know what Benylin is. A lot of these I don't know.
Mm-mm.
We got a question. What are you modeling? So Tyson's recreating a scene from Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse. Yep, right here. So Miles Morales rising to the occasion of becoming Spider-Man within the narrative of the film. So so this kind of upside down cityscape, abstracted, kind of impressionistic city view is what he's going for. So somebody else, Ink Patio, asked about if he's modeling to scale. This is just kind of whatever looks right to the camera view. Like you mentioned, in the making of, they say that some of these buildings are 2 miles high in their model. So no, they're just going for the idea, the feel of the city, and so no, not really to scale here.
No, we're just trying to do whatever is going to look, kind of good from the camera shot.
Sometimes that's all you need. Do whatever you can for the shot, like building buildings upside down.
Yeah, little upside down fun here. We got to make this one look different from the other one, so we're going to do that.
Yeah, just a little extra details on the top will give you different enough that from afar it'll look good.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, that should do it. We'll thin those up a little bit. Push that back. So yeah, here's where, based on time and stuff, we need to start reusing some of our elements.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got that one done. I said I was going to thin that one up, so I better do that before I forget. We use the move tool. We can thin this up just that native circle, or we could use a scale, but
yeah, very nice. So bringing the hovering over the cardinal points on a circle or an arc, if you're over one of the cardinal points or like the center of an arc, will let you move that and scale that about the center. So yeah, that's a good call.
So let's see here. Let's take this one and copy it back. We'll take it.
Lawrence says he just finished his 7,000 plus piece Lego build of Apollo command service and lunar modules. Oh my gosh. That seems like a lot of instructions to read through. So good for you. That's quite an accomplishment. He said it's very heavy. You don't want to drop that one. Michelle asking if you finalize in a render app. He mentioned Enscape. Not in this particular stream. I don't think we're going to be bringing it to render, but obviously there's a lot of sometimes we've done rendering on the stream before, and obviously there's a lot of different render engines out there. I know you use SketchFX for kind of like a simple, stylized look. And you mentioned V-Ray earlier, having kind of not nightmares, but like maybe flashbacks to V-Ray.
Yeah.
Are there other render apps that you have good or bad experiences with? Or
way back in the day, I used to use Crickithia, and then they changed that to Thea. I like that one. There was a very simple one that went out. I forget, but it's gone anyway now, so it doesn't matter. I've used a few for object rendering. I don't use it much, but what's the one that shoot, I shouldn't bring something up if I don't know what it is.
That's my entire move on this show. It's like a recent one, or it's
no, and our friend Chris Rosewarne tends to use it because it's really good for object rendering. So he'll do it, and then he'll do his Photoshop paint overs. But
yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. I'm answering this question terribly.
It's all good. If anybody, in the chat, let us know what your rendering engine of choice is. I know a lot of people these days are doing kind of the real time ones, like Enscape or Lumion, or I mean, now there's like a million different AI renderers too, so it's like it's hard to keep up. I guess whatever works for your specific workflow or deliverables. But let us know if there's any cool rendering stuff you're using in the chat.
It is true. Because we partnered. I mean, there are great options out there. I'll tell you one that I would like to learn. So, like you mentioned, I think Lumion and Enscape, which are real-time renders, and Twinmotion from Unreal. But that one, I think Enscape too. Anyway, because a lot of us are on Macs internally, which I am, some of those work a lot better on Windows, and so we don't actually go out and try them. But I would love to try a little more Twinmotion or bringing stuff into Unreal and seeing what we could do. It'd be interesting.
Yeah, 100%. And speaking of kind of different platforms, obviously Tyson's on Mac, but if you are on Windows, the SketchUp Studio subscription, you get a V-Ray subscription with that. So I know a lot of folks on our team and of course professionally use V-Ray, and V-Ray has some real-time rendering options as well. So as part of one of the SketchUp subscriptions, you can use V-Ray for that. Was there something on the image that you were going to reference for this kind of the next building style here?
I kind of just needed to give myself a quick idea. So I think what I'm looking at, as I looked at like this one or this one, they're a little more square, it looks like, and this one's got a top that kind of does something a little different. That's all.
Mhm.
So I was trying to quick give myself an idea of a little change I could, something different. So
Yeah.
trying that.
I like it.
So start the timer again.
Oh, yes. Timer. Maybe next time we'll have the timer on screen, but for now, I'm the only one who can see it. It's my secret. But I will let you know in 9 minutes 54 when it goes off. So, Peter tuning in from Nigeria. Hi. Thanks for tuning in. Happy to see you. Randy's
cool.
asking if anybody uses Twilight Render.
Twilight. I've heard good things.
Patrick, echoing what you're saying, that Twin Motion is great for real time. Ahmad saying Kithia and SU Podium. And Patrick's saying that V-Ray Vision is great for quick real-time rendering. Rich is saying where he lives in the UK, if you eat the local honey, because it's like local from the local bees, you are less prone to hay fever. So it's kind of a preventative thing.
Oh.
So honey not only being good for soothing the vocal cords, but also for preventing stuff if it's from the bees. I wonder like how close of bees you have to get the honey from, like if it's like 20 miles away, is it still gonna help you with that particular, or there has to be the bees right next to the hay that you're at or something? I don't know.
I don't know, but here's to that, because for the tea I'm drinking right now, I happen to be home recently. Home for me is southern Arizona, and down there we have a lot of mesquite trees. So people who grow their own honey from there has a distinctive flavor, and obviously it'll be distinctive anywhere. But the generic honey, at least in the US, that we get from the store is typically like a clover honey, which I love it. But yeah, like unique honey from an area. Oh man, how cool would it be to be able to like get together with a couple people from across the world and just sample the local honey? That would be awesome.
Yeah, we need like a honey trade. Maybe we can start up like a SketchUp. Yeah, I don't know what that would be. Kind of like a book club, but for honey, but trading different ones. Well, you have a bunch of people. I don't know who was the first one to recommend that you
Save.
No, we're living dangerously here in the superhero world. What are you talking about? But plus, there's a line directly from this movie that's kind of important. One of the hardest parts of the job is you can't save everyone.
Oh, hardest part is you can't save every model.
But I can save now, so. Okay, thank you. I'll stop being obstinate.
Excuse me. Yeah, always a good reflex to have is hitting the Command S every once in a while, or Control if you're on Windows.
Yeah. I saved this before we started just so it would be auto saving in the background, just because, yes, it's a good reminder. Thank you every time.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring up the can't save everybody thing, because isn't it a famous Spider-Man quote? With great power comes great responsibility.
Oh, yes.
and I was trying to think of like how could I weave that into the intro, but I just gave up. I couldn't think of one. So if you have a good play on words, a good pun for any Spider-Man, I guess any superhero saying. Although I'm
Well,
scared to open it up to puns from this group because I know what you guys
oh,
can do with.
we do have some power hitters for sure. There's a moment again in the movie where his dad, Miles' dad, is kind of griping about, some people don't like that Spider-Man's kind of a vigilante, and he's like, with great response, he's like, with great, he changed it so it's instead of great power comes great responsibility, or no, sorry, say it again. My brain is.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, it's like with great power comes great accountability. And Miles is like, that's not how it. No, they're kind of arguing.
Yeah. That's 4 minutes on the timer. Just a little heads up.
Oh, thank you. Okay, good. We can do this. We're gonna. Four minutes on the timer. No, I'm not gonna mess with that. Okay, you.
Oh, we had a question earlier about if the buildings are square, why not just model them like as a 1/4 as a component and then kind of array it around so you only have to do 1/4 of the work. And I know that you have like, details on a specific side, depending on what it's based, if it's looking towards the camera or not. Is that why you're not really, doing this in quarters or modeling along symmetric lines?
It's an excellent suggestion. I don't have a good reason why a lot of these could be done. To me, because most of these are rect. So you're right. Like we could do a corner, and that would capture the rectangle. I suppose it was just more of a, since we're kind of brute forcing these, it just was like, okay, this is how we're doing it. I don't know. Let's do the next one that way. Why not? And we could show that it's a good method.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess there's a bunch of different ways to do it, but yeah, quick and dirty works. But I like the idea of doing the next one a little bit different. We got a comment here on LinkedIn talking about, did you know that SketchUp can be fully customized for mouse control? I don't know if that's talking about,
So,
if you have a mouse with like a bunch of buttons on the side or something, creating custom shortcuts to that, perhaps. Yeah, that's a good call. I know Aaron has his, 3D space mouse that has the buttons on it that he's set, so he doesn't have to have his left hand going back and forth to the keyboard. He has all his kind of main shortcuts that he typically uses right on the peripheral device itself. I can't see your mouse, but do you have like the side buttons that you use for extra shortcuts or anything like that? Or are you just going the traditional 3-button?
Mine's a traditional 3-button mouse. It is a vertical mouse, but yeah, nothing crazy on here. I sometimes break out my Wacom tablet, although less so these days. But yeah, that's a good call. if you like customizing things like that.
Yeah, I love to see people's custom rigs and their custom shortcut setups, because it's like, oh yeah, once you get used to it, you can really fly when you have, you know, a bunch of different settings right on the thumb side of your mouse.
Okay. Okay, we only have a few. Even if we're doing 10-minute buildings, we only have a few that we could pull off left, but
Mhm.
we may need to do some just generic copy pasting. You know what? Let's use that thing we just said, and let's create a version that we can copy back here that's simpler than these. That's that doesn't have as much detail.
Let's do it.
So this time around, we're going to do a quarter. Make it 40 feet tall, and component. We will flip it and flip it. Flip it.
Flip.
Just to test that we've got it set up correctly. That looks right.
Very nice.
Let's see. So this one we said we're going to make this even simpler. Well, simpler would be like, oh, let's just put some lines on here. But let's see. Probably when I was doing this earlier, this was one of the things that seemed like, why would you go through the trouble of adding that kind of detail? You know, yeah, this is a good suggestion. Totally solid suggestion. Let's do this. We'll copy in our generic window back here. I'm going to space these out even a little more because these are going to be at a distance.
Well, the person talking about the mouse shortcuts was talking about gestures shortcuts, right-click gestures. So I guess perhaps that's some kind of.
I am not sure what that is referring to.
Yeah. But yeah, let us know how you use it. I can imagine what it'd be. I know on iPad, Sketch for iPad, there's some gesture shortcuts they use outside of, you know, you can use just with touch, like 2-finger tap to undo and stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah, that's cool. Which plugin is this? I think you've only used just the built-in SketchUp Pro tools so far. Is that right?
So far, I don't think we've done any plugins. So yeah, which you're asking about a specific command or something, please let us know. Elaborate.
Yeah.
I'm going to delete these. Hide that. Do the same thing we've done with the other ones.
Another person tuning in from South Africa. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Good to see you.
Nice. It's late there.
Yeah, you folks are diehards. Well, I guess Friday night. Sometimes it's nice to burn the midnight oil, stay up a little bit later, get some extra time out of your weekend.
Just for kicks, let's make this one kind of bluish gray. We'll see.
So I do not know a lot about comic book worlds and Spider-Man and stuff. So does Spider-Man live in like New York, or does he live in like Metropolis or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
I
No,
guess Metropolis
Spider-Man's
is DC and he's Marvel, right?
Yeah, it is definitely New York. I don't know, and maybe somebody out there knows. He's from Brooklyn. Like that's kind of prominent, at least in this version. I don't know
Okay.
if that's standard for every version. It could be.
Yeah, that sounds right, I think.
But yeah,
Brighter than, yeah.
I think a lot of his adventures take place around Manhattan, where you have the most of the buildings and stuff. But yeah, I think he's a kid from Brooklyn who swings around New York.
That's fun. Yeah, I could see this as being New York. I'm going to comment here about I never understand why the color picker on Mac is so much different than on Windows. And I think it's like a system thing, right?
That is correct. And your pain point is felt by us too, especially when we have to teach it.
Yeah.
But we're just inheriting the generic color picker that the system gives us, and that as opposed to developing and updating and keeping working like a unified one, even though it has come up many times over the years that obviously would be a big improvement to unifying everything. But in the meantime, it just works. So it continues to sort of be that.
I have a couple different people talking about where Miles Morales. It says Miles Morales lives in Brooklyn, and Keggy's saying Queens is where. So I don't know if Peter Parker and Miles Morales are from different areas.
Could be.
But I believe it.
Bit more upside down drawing here, just to make this one a little bit different.
Here you go. Dubs31 chimes in talking about there's a lot of Spider-Man chatter in the chat. Dubs says that Peter Parker's apartment in the first Spider-Man game was in the Lower East Side or Chinatown area, but not sure where he lived with Aunt May.
Right. Okay.
And then Keggy saying definitely Peter Parker lives in Queens. And and he knows that because his son has seen most of the films so many times. Hey, that's
We
what
will
you get,
believe
I
you.
guess, when you're a parent. You know everything about one particular universe of movies. I know my
Mhm.
nephew has probably watched Cars 2 like 1,000 times, so get entrenched in those particular worlds when it's on in the background so much.
Mhm. It's true. We need a really generic version. I set this up correctly. Okay, good. To just do some filler work. So.
Eric earlier said he was impressed with you modeling all these buildings from scratch and not just pulling them off 3D Warehouse, because he said that's probably what he would have done.
That's because Eric is smarter than I am.
Well, it would have been a short stream. I don't know if he could fill 2 hours with just pulling buildings, flipping them upside down, and
Well, I imagine, and part of the reason, I think if you started pulling buildings from the warehouse, depending on where you were going with it, you'd have to start going down the path of modification if you were trying to get like a stylized look or something. And I would rather, I don't know, there's something in me that would rather kind of go from scratch than modify. But we definitely start out with a lot more detail, and we'd have it totally like a good alternate way to do it, right?
yeah, it's you make a good point that you have kind of control over it, and it's not you're not bringing in a bunch of crazy tags or nested groups or anything, or materials that you're not going to use, or um, you know you have control over the level of detail. Uh, so I think it's good the way you're doing it.
It's working. We're getting there.
Yeah.
Sort of getting there. We definitely are not going to get as far as if we had just grabbed some buildings because, obvious reasons. Maybe we should grab some filler buildings. We're gonna keep going. We'll see what we can do. I would
That's up
like,
to you. You're at the helm.
obviously. I would like to do. I would like, we'll get a few more buildings in here, and then I'd like to recreate that shot where it's like sort of he is falling up, and that'll be sort of the last thing we do. And it was a fun exercise in as somebody observed, where let's just create a series of nested components that's just going to give us generic detail. So that's where we got. We're good.
Yeah, Randy's saying he likes watching this kind of modeling because he gets a lot of techniques from watching you work.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that's cool to hear. Thanks, Randy. And props to you, Tyson.
Now here's an example. Go ahead.
I was saying to the gentleman on LinkedIn talking about SketchUp features. If you want to, there's an area on the forum for feature requests, and that's probably the best way to talk about SketchUp features with the product managers and stuff. So yeah, cruise on over to the forums.sketchup.com, and yeah, you can drop a feature, talk about features there. But sorry, what were you saying?
I was going to say that this is an example of like not, I mean, we're doing something so simple here that I'm just going to do a couple of offsets instead of making a component. I think sometimes I'm not sure, like, oh, you know, make everything component or not, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, sometimes you just brute force something simple and like, that's good enough.
Yeah.
That's weird, but maybe we'll use it. I didn't intend for that to like cut an opening, but it actually looks interesting, so we're gonna leave it be.
Yeah, looks like a little
Actually, that looks
reflection.
looks
Shimmering
better than my
windows.
versions.
Hey, like we talked about Bob Ross earlier, happy little accidents, right?
Happy little accidents. All right, we need see where we need to interject some buildings here. Bring this one over. That one will work well there. Let's pull one up here.
Randy asks, other than push, pull, and offset, what tools repeat themselves when you double click? For people who don't know, if you pull a surface a certain distance and then you double click on a different face or the same face, it'll repeat that action the same distance again, and same with offset. Um, are there other tools that do that too that you can think of?
I can think of at least. Well, first of all, if you go to layout, I'll tell you a weird one. You can recreate the same table. I just learned that when I did a recent skill builder on tables.
Oh,
I don't think
like the
that's
same number of cells and stuff.
yeah, it'll recreate the same size. I think that's just inherent to like, oh, it's possible, so it was built in there. I don't necessarily see it as useful, but
Mm-hmm.
but tables, there's a random one for you. Here's one. If I put an arc on here, and especially like if I make it tangent, if I double click, it'll cut that away. And if I double click here, and here, and here, it'll do the same. So
Nice.
I can't do it in between here, but arcs, if you draw an arc,
I think it works on inside ones, doesn't it?
if I double click, yeah, there, oh, you're right. There you go. You just have to click on a surface near it. So arcs, at least the 2-point arc, probably a 3-point arc. Offset, push, pull.
I was looking at the large tool set too to see.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking over here.
Pull down and see. Yeah.
I think those are the main ones. Some of those repeat in layout. You can double click and recreate the similar shapes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think the arc, and please chime in on what we're missing, because I don't think rectangle or some of the rest of them, you know, they just don't make sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good one. Yeah, thanks for showing that off. Ooh, very cool.
I am going to make these. Let's see. Unique. Nope. Oops. What did I do here? How did I nested this but poorly. well, first of all, I've got to make this whole thing. Make unique. And then I'll select these and make these unique. Hopefully then this is part of why I brute forced this earlier, is just the ability to, you know, again, you could do this with components, but just to make some changes.
Yeah, that's cool.
Sometimes just kind of do.
Are you a video game guy? Like, do you play video games?
Yeah.
I remember hearing, this is like a couple years ago, but like there was a really good Spider-Man game that people said was great. You ever play that?
I did not. My son did, and I always wanted to go back and try it because I've heard really good things about it, but I did not actually get in play that one. But yeah, I would like to.
Yeah, I've been so out of video games. I feel like I would just be like mind boggled if I had like a modern console and played stuff. Because like the last time I played video games really was like Xbox 360. I'm like out of it. I remember the Spider-Man 64 on N64 game being pretty cool. So probably the new one is a lot cooler than that. Michelle has to go. Says thanks and have a nice evening, and same to you. Thanks for tuning in and watching.
Yeah,
and
thank you indeed.
Yeah, have a great one.
I think we're at a point where I'm tilting some of the near buildings to us just a little bit out. I'll tilt some of the medium buildings. Like I'm tilting these just 2 degrees, just slightly, just to emphasize, you know, a little more drama. I'll take maybe this one, and this one, and tilt them a little bit, maybe 1 degree. Again, just sort of we're doing whatever in favor of the shot. So just that slight little bit makes these look, I think, a little bit more dramatic.
I'm
going to take these buildings back here and just paint them a dark color because we got to finish this up. So that's what we're going to do.
Vincent's asking why the buildings are upside down. This is trying to recreate a particular shot from yeah, I can see that when you're hopping halfway in. It's like, why?
What's going
building
on
upside
here?
down world over here. This is recreating a shot from a Spider-Man film called Into the Spiderverse from a couple years ago. There's this particular shot where he's kind of falling down but rising up. So actually it's inverted, just like in Top Gun.
Nice.
But anyways, yeah, so that's why the buildings are upside down.
Better. And that's why we have some of these generic color blobs. I was trying to see, like, if we make it look like there's colors in here, but I think we didn't quite dial that in correctly, but it is what it is because, you know, that's how it goes. Sometimes you try something and we need more time to refine it. Maybe it doesn't work for us.
Yeah, it's an interesting challenge to see what you can do in just a couple hours. And I think it looks great.
Hey, if Matt thinks it, then we're okay.
What I say goes.
True story.
Oh, Inception. Yeah, I kind of got the Inception vibe. You know, the buildings kind of folding up or crumbling in on themselves kind of thing. Yeah.
Totally can see it. Okay, where's
Speaking
our
of
styles?
Inception, which of course Christopher Nolan movie, I've been meaning to rewatch some Nolans because I'm going to see the Oppenheimer movie next month, and so got to get refreshed on all this filmography. But yeah, I'm psyched for that. I know I see so much stuff on Barbie versus Oppenheimer, all this on the you got the new Wes Anderson movie out. It's like it's a big summer for movies. And of course, the most recent Spiderverse came out. People are really enjoying that too, right? The sequel of this, the one that this shot is from. Across the Spiderverse, they say. Across the Spiderverse. So. Are you going to make a separate scale figure for Miles Morales here? Or are you just going to use you? I got to say, it does look cool when he's kind of like doing this floating, reverse falling thing versus if you're talking, your audio is off. I may have forgotten to turn off the cough. Yes.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's make a Spider-Verse. I mean, thank you. I've been a great placeholder here, but I am no Spider-Man.
Somebody, Keggy actually says maybe we should just use your scale figure and just give you the Spidey suit.
I know. Can we just recolor it? I want this building just a little bit taller, and I can do that.
You're like the Stan Lee of this universe. You can just make that happen.
I can make that happen. So, in our last little bit of time remaining, let's try to recreate, a little bit of that transition. But the problem we're going to have is we can create, so we've got our scenes, and so there's something. Sorry. The buildings are moving, but like in the shot, Miles isn't. So we want to create two scenes where these buildings are slightly moving, but then we're going to have to create a version where our focus will create a little Miles is not. But let's create our scenes first. So, oops, that's a little too much. This goes back to what I said way at the beginning, which is if you can use your navigation on something nearby. So I'm actually, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to grotesquely stretch myself. Yay. That way oops. That way, when I do this, I have a little more room off screen to say, okay, that's one scene. And then grab you here and say that's another scene. So scenes 2 and 3. Oh, it does not like all of the geometry we've asked it to. Does not like it at all.
You're just in a really slow, transition. Do you have profiles on too?
Yeah, let's make a simpler. Let's turn this up to a few seconds and go into our styles and make this a happier style for now. Turn profiles off, and that should Oh, should have anticipated this. Does not like it.
Well, you can export a video.
Yeah, we can. What if I do that? I can't quite tell. I turn my I can't quite tell if I moved it as far as I was hoping to. Oh, apparently didn't take my transition time. I don't think it moved it quite as far as I hoped it would.
Yeah,
So,
where'd you go? I can't see you.
well, I deleted me because I thought
okay.
I had it. So there's me. Let's grotesquely do this a little more. Oops.
Is this Mr. Fantastic over here? People saying this is like Tyson versus Godzilla or Tyson versus King Kong. And Lauren said this is more like Tyson is Godzilla.
Yeah.
Taking down the city over here.
All right. Let's see if that's a little more movement. I don't know if everybody can see it okay, but like you say, we'd probably have to export this to really get. So let's save that for a mo. And I'm going to actually build this next one in a new file. So goodbye, you. Yeah, let's get a screen cap here of somewhere I've got a version that we can trace.
Nice.
Do a quick trace over, nothing fancy. So I'm going to make this, I group this so I can lock it. And I turn on transparency. And then we're just going to hack the freehand tool. And here's where I should get
Nice.
my Wacom out.
Oh, yeah. You ever use the iPad with the pencil to make scale figures like this?
I have been wanting to do so because I've used the freehand tool with the iPad and it's so much nicer. It really does look nice. Have you done it?
Yeah, a couple times. It is so much easier than the old way of, using arc and line tool on a regular mouse. Goes pretty quick for sure. Spidey.
Spider-Man. Put a little bit of lines in here for some color, but that's probably about as much detail as we're going to get.
Yeah.
Probably about as much as we need. The freehand tool still does, like, even we made some improvements and they were very welcome improvements with just sort of working better, but it still doesn't snap well to, well, I suppose on a good hand that's a good thing, because it used to be like I could never get that close to other geometry. It would like magnetize towards it, but
Yeah.
still a little finicky, but Definitely an improvement. Thank you, devs.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, this technique of kind of going over the second one to make sure you break that line is definitely the way to go.
So
Vincent says using the mouse is like drawing with a bar of soap.
you are not wrong. Okay, so that's one aspect that we use. I think. No, I'm not sure. Anyway, the other thing I think we'll do at this point, so we'll just delete that. Yeah, very simplified version, but we're going to use it. We're not going to worry about creating the actual ratio, but the movie ratios, it would be even more cropped from the top and bottom. So let's invent our own version. And guessing we could guess totally wrong here. But let's say it's something like this. So we have a wider aspect ratio, and that's about the frame.
Yeah, I buy it. That looks good.
Sweet. Okay, so what we're going to do, I need to turn off. And then we're going to make these very dark, you and you. And we're going to. Oh, I hear an ice cream truck outside. That sounds that means it's about time for us to wrap. So we're gonna do that, and hopefully everybody can go get some ice cream.
Ending the stream early.
I gotta go, everybody.
Running
Thanks.
away.
Have a good one. It's an emergency. What I want to do, so I've got it's Spider-Man and these bars, and I want to export this as a PNG. Because that will give me transparency. And some of you may anticipate that, yeah, we're going to try and set this up as a watermark. Alias, transparency, beautiful, beautiful, cool, all good. Let's do it. So if we jump back to here and we go to our styles, I'm going to add this as a watermark.
Nice.
Yep. Overlay, good, good. This is all looks good. Locked aspect ratio, stretched across, finish. Looks like we're missing a little bit here, but we're going to pretend like we're not. I think we can edit our watermark. We could do that. That'll fix it. So we'll just do that.
Yeah, that works.
No need to labor. Anyway, if we could see this, and let's do one more thing where we hide axis. But if our scenes worked, if we could keep up. Is it doing that? It keeps turning it off just because I think the program itself is like, no, I can't do this. Stop trying to make me. Let's turn it way up to 10 seconds and see if we get some semblance of it. Here we go.
Yeah, that's cool. Love it.
We got there.
Beautiful. I feel like I'm in the
Nice.
Spiderverse.
Oh, man. Well, this is fun because this is the type of thing where you could just set this aside and then come back to it every now and then and be like, I'm just going to keep adding detail forever. And I'll export it and make it like, better and better. But
Yeah. Oh, totally. You could spend a lot of time in here. But no, that looks beautiful for 2 hours. Great work.
add just a little more so that we get a little more transition as we're going. All right. We did it, Matt.
Love it. Hey, you did it. I was just along for the ride, and I had a great ride. So, yeah, thanks to you, of course, for modeling this. This has been great, and thanks for everybody watching too. Like I mentioned earlier, we do this every week. So if you're new to this, wherever you're watching from, same time, same place next week, we'll be here. So yeah, tune in live. I don't know what the topic will be, but hey, it's a surprise, makes it even more fun. So yeah, check it out, and hey, hope everybody has a great weekend.
Definitely check it out. It should be fun. I'm gonna tweak this, see if it gets a little more. I can't stop tweaking.
Oh,
make
tweak
these
it
a little
out.
smaller and all right. If we do that and then we go back to, of course, I have scene transitions turned on now. You had just given us this nice out, and then I'm back here like pulling us back in.
Oh, no problem. No, you can keep going if you want. There's no
I know. Everybody leave quick. I'm just. Oh, see, I've gone and messed it up. Can't leave well enough alone. Walk away. Just walk away.
yeah, just float away. Rise away into the city.
Oh, it does not want to do this. Yeah, so we don't know what's happening next week. But should be good. I think Aaron's up. I want to keep tweaking those, make them like dial them back a little more, but another time. There we go. We're done. Thanks everybody. Thanks for being along for the ride.
Yeah, 100%. Cool. Yeah, thanks you. Thank to you. Oh boy, time to end. Good job.
Happy long weekend. Happy 4th for those in the US and everywhere else. Have a wonderful weekend all the same. So see you later.
Absolutely. Take care.